Welcome in, everyone. So, how are we doing this evening? We all having a good evening? Everything fine? Dandy? Pleasant, even? At least I hope all the ads have stopped running. I hope you all can hear me and know that I'm pulling for you. Hello, Ninetails. So, tonight I don't really know exactly where I'm going to go with this, but I was talking about the Disney earlier. And I thought of a few things. Some strange ideas came to me about how we're pushing people to watch more ads. But most people are fighting very hard to stop watching ads. And I don't think it's ads that we have a problem with. It's ads that make no sense. It's ads that, like, you'll see, like this family out on a picnic and all of this and everything, It's this wonderful thing. And you're thinking in your mind, it's got to be about food. It's got to be about food. And no, it's some stupid, medication that really has nothing to do with a family being out on vacation or on a picnic. Ads that are so incongruous, they make no sense. They don't really typify what's happening. So I think that's more along the lines of what people have a problem with. Also, the fact that they're trying to jam so many ads per hour. When I was growing up, ads were on TV. You couldn't escape them. There was no, DVR where you could pause the show and then just fast forward through the ads. There was no, skip ad. So you were forced to watch whatever ads were available. Well, that's when we'd get up and, grab a snack, go to the bathroom, and be back in time for the show. And that was generally in a 30-minute show. You had maybe 3 minutes of ads. 3 to 5, we'll give it. And, when an hour-long show, it was about 45 minutes. So you had 15 minutes of ads, in 60 minutes. That's not too bad. Ads had their place. They gave you a chance to get up, move around, do things. And I think we need to hit this equilibrium because ads are necessary to a certain degree. I know this kind of contradicts what I said before, but ads are necessary. We need the ads to tell us, hello there. I'm just shooting the shit. I'm just talking. And, ads, as annoying as they may be, they are necessary to pay for the programming, for the things that we enjoy.
Why do I hear Boss music?
Because you're on the Neon Boss channel. That's why you hear Boss music. But thank you. And the fact is that we know ads are necessary. Nobody's dumb. We know that we have to watch ads. But we want to watch ads that actually make sense to us. These weird artsy, ads that have nothing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jaguar at all. But apparently they had this just absolute terrible ad. So bad that I think it dropped their sales in the UK. Oh, yeah, don't even get me started on mobile game ads. Those are terrible. But it dropped the revenue in the UK for Jaguar like 80% or 75%, some astronomical amount. Like the ads were so bad, people just like, I ain't buying your car. I mean, it also didn't help that their car looked kind of like a Barbie car. I thought it looked kind of cool, me personally. Maybe not in the colors they were advertising it as. Well, especially since mobile game ads, they're not really have anything to do.
I'm not the boss of you. Fucking get arrested. I don't care.
Thank you. That mobile ads, especially mobile, for mobile games, have nothing to do with the game. Even when they say it does. Oh, it's like, oh, we actually have the game. It's in there somewhere. And yeah, when you get it, it's like, it's stupid. Plus, I mean, like I keep getting this one for, what is it, Royal Match? Like the ad is so long, so stupid, that it literally actively, I don't even want to look at the game. I don't even want to try the game. It's like it works as a deterrent for me to even try and want to play it. And I don't think they understand that. Yeah, sure. I don't think I'd get much out of that. Because most people, if they actually understood what the game was about, also wouldn't play the game. Because a mobile game is a mobile game is a mobile game. Even though mobile games are hugely profitable. Well, they're hugely profitable because they take like 10 cents to make. I mean, I could boot up a friggin' AI, code generator, tell it I want a 3-match game involving, what hasn't been done yet. Basically a 3-match game involving, whatever 3, items, random shapes you want to use. And for a little flavor, add some chibi characters to it. Looking like Funko Pops. And boom, I have a mobile ad. A mobile game. Just like Bejeweled, just like Candy Crush, I think most people are familiar with, just like all these other stupid games. Well, yeah, but I mean, you can do it. I mean, you can use AI to create a 3-match game because a 3-match game is a 3-match game. I don't care which one you play. They're all the same. It's like, oh, they have a story. No, they don't. Yeah, 3-match games are addicting. That's why they're one of the longest standing game types there are. They're quick, they're easy. You can put it down, you can pick it back up, and they make it difficult enough that you pay a little bit of money to make, to get a little bit further, like Candy Crush did. And then you have, Monopoly Go, which made $1 billion one year, and I think it's been still continuing to make a bunch of money. That's what's funding Hasbro right now is friggin' Monopoly Go because people pay for extra rolls. I don't think people quite understand how hilarious it is to play a game called Monopoly and hand your cash so you can make cash in game. Which throws me at another thing of the fact that everybody thinks cryptocurrency is new. It's like, no, cryptocurrency has been around since microtransactions were invented. Since you could pay real money and get video game money, that's cryptocurrency. I mean, you're buying a digital asset and creating it, for a digital asset. That's what you're doing. Okay, hello there. Glad you stopped in and said hi. Sorry I bored you. You had to just, hit and run. That's a joke. I know people have lives. Yeah, like I said, it was a joke. Mobile games are some of the funniest, concepts. Like, one can hit, like Flappy Bird. It did so well and then died. Like, why? I mean, it was a stupid game. Yeah. Geez, when was the last? Oh, I had ice cream last Thursday, but since, before that, I can't remember the last time I had ice cream. I don't know. It's just one of those things that Mobile games are hilarious to me because, yeah, I play one. But every other one outside of that I tried to play, I don't like. And the one I play is just a stupid 3-match. It's Marvel Puzzle Quest. It's what I play. But I was there before a whole lot of the monetization policies hit. So I gained a whole lot of stuff a long time ago. And yeah, I put a little bit of money here and there to it. What's up, Ghost? How you doing? You having fun tonight? It was a good stream, by the way. I wasn't really in front of my keyboard, so I couldn't chat as much as I would have liked. Well, yeah, because you worked this morning and you streamed this evening. Yeah, I would suggest you being a little tired. No, that's totally acceptable. Yes, Randall, but we have to be quiet. Daddy's tired. See, Ghost, you need better sleep. It's proven the longer you go without the sleep, the smaller your brain gets. Like, it literally is proven. Your brain loses mass on lack of sleep. You have to get a minimum of 6 hours. 8 is preferable. So, I have to say, Ghost, what are you doing sitting here talking to me? You should go to sleep. You're not going to miss anything. Sleep's probably one of the hands down most important things you can get. Take it from a previous insomniac. The amount of crap that right. The amount of crap I went through to try and get my sleep schedule back is insane. But now I have my body trained. I sleep for 8 hours and that's it. Even if I want to sleep in. It's like I lay down in bed, 8 hours, I'm up. Even if I didn't fall asleep. It's stupid. But we were talking about mobile games. So, Ghost, what mobile games do you play? What's up, Green Jeans? Why acrylic nails? I mean, why did they use acrylic? I mean, there's so many other beautiful materials out there. Stainless steel, copper, bronze. I'm joking. Green jeans. No, thank you. Right. Hey, Gossip. Welcome in. I was just literally asking people what mobile games they play. If you don't want to say, that's fine. Like I said, the one I play is Marvel Puzzle Quest. It is the only money I give to Marvel. Angry Birds? Wait, that's still around? Dragon Ball Legends? Never played it. I have no idea what it is. I assume... Ha! Well, okay, yeah. You, Gossip, I totally understand. You barely have any time to play games... Which, maybe better balancing your schedule might not be a bad idea. Like I was just trying to explain to Ghost, balancing your schedule isn't a bad idea. You do nobody any good if you're burned out. Dragon Ball Legends is a gacha game. Got it. Yeah, see, I steer clear of games like that. Because I found I'm actually rather weak to spending money on them. You know, you didn't see it, but I basically made the same face as you did in that emoji. Just like, oh, the amount of money I spent in some games that, I just had to take a step back. Hell, I even played Raid Shadow Legends for a little while. But that was all because my buddy was playing it, and we were got into the same thing or whatnot, and then I just realized I was bored with the game. I mean, it played itself. What's the point in a game that does that? That's funny. I think I play Block Blast too. That's right. I have 2 mobile games. I'm sorry. I have 2 mobile games on my phone. Marble Puzzle Quest and Block Blast. Yes. That is the other one. I don't play Block Blast as often. What's up, Jade Elfie? Welcome in. But, I mean, we were talking about mobile game ads. Oh my God, Marvel Strike Force. There was one before that, or in between that I played a lot of, but I can't remember the name of it. Like, it was a flash in the pan. Yeah, there you go, Uno. See, I like playing Uno live with real people. But, But as we were saying, it's like the mobile game ads. Oof. That sucks. See, and I don't understand that. They censored Mercy Uno. Like, they censored the word mercy. Or no mercy Uno. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. I totally understand that. Like, either that or else Jade mistyped, and I don't know what it would be, but it's still weird that it did the 3 asterisks. I'm trying to think. What did they censor then? Sorry, that is absolutely baffling to me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just 3 asterisks RCY Uno lol. So it's like, what? Oh, I'll bet it because it thought you had done like a link to something. I'll bet that's why it censored it. Because, only mods and me can add, can do links. Sorry, I got to protect my community the best way I know how. All right, I can give you an opinion. Yep, no, okay, yeah, No Mercy shows now. I'll bet it thought that you were trying to do a no.mercy, like a link. Yeah, I was there for you and Raven's stream. The April Fool's one, which was freaking hilarious. What about it? What opinion do you want from me? All right. You got a plan. I'm still confused on where you're asking my opinion. I mean, I'm sitting here waiting with bated breath. I don't know where you're taking this. Will he say yes? Will he say no? Werewolves are lichens. They're basically the same thing. Or are you talking about the generic lichen as in another kind of were creature? Or are you talking about the curse of the werewolf versus a genetic lichen? I need a little bit more context here, Green Jeans. Because there is a very big difference between oh, that is one hell of a idea. You know you're going to end up being Natsuke. Natsuke? The baker one that really liked anime. Yeah, Buffsuki. I mean, I'm sorry. That's really where it's going to go. Oh, definitely bloodline lichen. I mean, if I'm given the choice of that, yeah. Bloodline. Right. Although curse supposedly are immortal, it also depends on the curse. But they, curse werewolves generally don't have control, whereas bloodline lichens have control. I'm just saying, that's... Again, I would need a little bit more context because, how things have reached. But again, Ghost, I don't really understand the what my opinion should be on this. I think that's a wonderful idea. I think that's going to be a worthy goal. I think you might want to start it in February, though. Yeah. Hell, man. I might do something like that. That'd be fun. Wouldn't be the first time I've dressed up in drag. I mean, it's just for the laughs. Now, I know a lot of people can get very political about it. No, not like that, but like for Halloween, I can't remember exactly why, but I dressed up as what was it? Well, the first time I dressed up as an old granny, but that was for a buddy's music video for college. And the other time was Halloween, and I was a pirate queen. I can't remember why I was a pirate queen, but I was. I don't remember why that was a thing. But yeah, somewhere floating out there, probably on the internet, is a music video. Oh, God, that would be hilarious. One of these years, I'm going to get back into reasonable shape, and I'm going to cosplay as Colossus. Because he's one of my favorite superheroes of all time. And the movies so far haven't got him right. Well, no. Deadpool movies has gotten Colossus pretty close to correct. I mean, no, am I going to get that buff? No, I'll do my best. Rocco. I don't know who Rocco is. Hell, if it wasn't for all the Elmo memes, I probably would have forgotten who Elmo is. Right, but I mean the Colossus. Elmo's mortal enemy. Got it. Okay. But I mean the Deadpool Colossus from the movies. I mean, I just like Colossus. Just like I really like Thing, Ben Grimm. One of these years, I might dress up as him. I don't know. Although I think for both Colossus and, Ben Grimm, I'm waiting for Tater to get done with makeup school because ain't no way in hell I can do that on my own. I mean, I remember way back before I had kids and everything, Halloween used to be a big deal. Me and my brother put together costumes of the Borg from Next Generation. I don't know. I've never had phone sex with Rocco, so I can't really judge. Never had phone sex with you either, but I'm just saying, I don't know which one would be better. Not really sure if I want to test this. Just saying. But, I mean, see, my brother and I put together Borg costumes that were a lot of fun to put together. We had a lot of spare electronics. I'm not sure if I want to know what the judging criteria would be. Mr. Noodle. Again, I have no freaking clue. That is a disturbing little factoid. Is that actually... How old is Will Wheaton then? Tasty? I'm going to continue talking with Green Jeans because you guys lost me on the Muppet talk. Dirt? Well, okay. No, but I mean... how old is Will Wheaton now? Because I always thought he was closer, close to my age. Oh, well, never mind then. I mean, there's not that much difference in our ages, but yeah, I knew what you meant. So Patrick Stewart was younger than 50s when he was on Star Trek? Dude looked old. OITNB. I don't know what that is. Ointnib. One in the new book? Orange is the New Black. You've literally told me that before. Got it. I'm sorry, dude. I tried watching that show. It wasn't my show. When the first 10 minutes was some lady taking a piss, I was done. It didn't grip me, and I never went back. I'm just sorry, it's I'm not there for that. And if that was the first way you show me the show, why am I going back? Yeah, I was a fan of Family Guy. Family Guy and American Dad. And Futurama. Simpsons back when it was good. Why? Out of curiosity, I mean, where do you think my standards lie, I guess? I mean, I definitely think early Family Guy was better. Oh, Orville was great. And I'm not saying that, Rando. I would say that it takes a lot more than that to get me interested. I mean, especially, why are they in a bulldozer? Like, why is construction equipment sexy? Well, and what I loved about Orville is that it was funny, but it also told, entertained you and taught you. Wait, Orville was canceled? Well, I'm not finishing that statement. Ah, okay. Although it makes sense, I mean, Disney bought Fox, so yeah. But yeah, I mean, Seth MacFarlane, while not always the best, he's pretty consistent. I mean, he also was on Star Trek Next Generation. Not as a writer, but as an actor. He's also, in my opinion, one hell of a singer. Especially when you realize that in all of the Family Guy Road 2 episodes, between Stewie and Brian, he's singing both parts. Think about that for a second. He's the singer in both parts. Because he voices both Stewie and Brian. Yeah, he did do some Broadway. I mean, Seth MacFarlane's actually pretty talented. And I don't think he got a lot of credit. I don't think he got enough. I think his brother's a jerk, though. You ever hear of Firefest? I know it's not his brother. They're apparently supposedly not even related, but if you look at the pictures, the guy that did Fire Festival looks a lot like Seth MacFarlane. And they both have the last name of MacFarlane. I just can't remember the other guy's name. Oh, yeah. And he's great at it. Seth MacFarlane has a wonderful crooner voice. Yes. I didn't think he was physically remaking Sinatra as some kind of Franken Sinatra instead of Frankenstein. Franken Sinatra. We'll take the parts of all last century's greatest crooners and put them together into a Franken Sinatra. I'm sorry. I that my brain is just going off on that now, like, how funny that would be. I kind of want to figure out how to do a skit of that. A Franken Sinatra. Thanks, Ghost. That was a wonderful idea. I mean, a little bit of Bing, a little bit of Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin. Right? I know what you meant. I don't know. That would just be kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, if Orville was canceled, I think that's really sad because they did a really good job exploring things like they should have on Star Trek. And again, I didn't mean to bring up Marvel, or not Marvel, but Disney killed another thing that, is great or was great. And from what I understand, the new episodes of Futurama are garbage. I don't know, though. I haven't watched them, but I mean, I would have figured that somebody would have been talking about them. I haven't heard anything about new seasons of Archer, which I think at least the first 4 seasons people should watch. Because Archer was wonderful. It was fun. It was witty. It seems like it's just full of crass humor, but there was actually more to it. You refuse to watch it? Well, I don't even know. I mean, my kids were raised on Futurama. I used to have everything up until, they started releasing again. One of these days, I'm going to buy it again. I love Futurama. I still think it is one of the best cartoon shows they ever made. Close second to me would be Futurama and then Family Guy. Or not Family Guy, American Dad. I think American Dad, while it didn't have the high peaks that Family Guy did, it was more consistent. It was consistently funny, but at a lower level, where Family Guy would have hit and miss. It was more of a roller coaster ride. And Futurama was just this nice, very consistent levels of humor. And Archer is probably in my top 5, too. And I'd say the first 15 years of Simpsons was best, right up into the movie. And then after that, I'm not sure if that was 15 years or whatnot, but basically Simpsons to the movie, the Simpsons movie, I'd stop there. And even then, I'd probably, some of the earliest seasons probably aren't really worth watching. Second or third season when it was really starting to get its stride, all the way up to the movie was pretty good. And I don't think a lot of people really understand how much of, especially if you're younger, how much The Simpsons was a cultural phenomenon through the 90s. I mean, it really was the most consistent show in the 90s. The Simpsons was a wonderful show. I don't know what else to say. It was good. I haven't really caught too many of the new episodes, again, because Disney. Right. Well, and that's what I mean is while Family Guy might have some really good episodes here and there, Family Guy or American Dad is just more consistent. It's better. Yeah. True, Ninetales. I think a lot of people want... Let's put it this way. I think a lot of people are obsessed with being in the wrong timeline. And instead of trying to make this timeline better, they're just trying to find their original timeline or a better timeline. And I think a lot of people, I'm going to get into the weeds real quick of the whole glitch in the Matrix, Mandela, thing. I think a lot of people don't understand when they sit there and talk about how, they're in the wrong timeline and stuff. If that's the case, and if you find a way to cross back over into your old timeline or into a better timeline, that means you're leaving somebody else that is you with this timeline. Or leaving a gap in this timeline where you were. Whether that means that everybody remembers you and you're now lost in one manner or another, either missing persons or in a eulogy. Right. We forget that we need to make our own world better. We need to quit worrying about what's happening over there and wherever over there is, and focusing on, using Jerry Springer effect of, oh, well, at least I don't live there. Do something better in your own community, in your own area. Make it better. And I realize that, especially in today's day and age, that's really friggin' hard. I don't think people really understand how much social media has ruined our social culture. You at least used to have a passing knowledge of your neighbors. Because you'd be out in the yard. You'd be out there, oh, hey, Bill, how's it going? You know, hi, Tom. Hi, Barbara. You know, those kind of things. Right. No, and I get it. I just haven't really had the chance to sit down and read it, to be perfectly honest. I do plan on it. I've downloaded them to my phone, so I mean they will be read here soon. I just don't understand how we can make it better, because there's so much pushback. I mean, there's plenty of ways to make it better, don't get me wrong, but there's so much pushback. Because if you're too interested in your neighbors, you're a creep. You know, we've made everybody afraid. Everybody's afraid of something. And I think that's really sad. I think everybody is so worried, right? Well, expand your horizons. Don't be so locked in. You know, I mean, and that's one of the things that I think people need to understand is that be open to new things. You know, not so open that your mind falls out, but I mean, be open to judging something for what it is on its own merit. Like, I understand that I don't like the Marvel movies. I understand that there's a whole lot of people that do. They're just not something made for me. They're made for other people. And I'm okay with that. Apparently here more recently, they're not made for pretty much anyone. But, you know, you will find, you know, be willing to look at something new. It's hilarious to me to watch how many people just don't watch new stuff. I don't know how many of my friends, you know, basically just have the same, you know, like 10 or 20 things they watch on a loop. Barely ever adding something new to it. You know, how much can you watch of the same thing? I mean, I used to be the same way. I used to watch Futurama. You know, I'd have this rotation, Futurama, American Dad, Archer. And I would just do this rotation of watching shows. But I also would try to find something new. And it was so hard to find something new that I actually wanted. But that's been my whole life. There's very few things that are actually made for me. You know, I think, you know, that's what I struggle with the most is that I'm not your average person. What I like is not something that a whole lot of people like. I am not for broad consumption, I guess, is, you know, the biggest thing. And it's so difficult for people to really understand that. That if it's dumbed down too much and I see it too far ahead, I'm done. You know, if I can see where it's going from where it starts, I'm bored. I'm waiting for it to get to the plot points I saw. Now, I don't know why I can do that. I don't know why I can. My mom used to read a whole lot of mystery novels. And I wanted something new to read. And so I grabbed one of her mystery novels. And I read the first, like, page. I already knew who did it. I literally told her, oh, it's this guy. And she's like, how do you know that? Oh, because they make a point out of saying that he can mimic voices. He's the one that did it. He's mimicking somebody else, gets them to his place, kills them, or wherever. You know, and she's just like, yeah, that's the plot of the book. But see, it's not fair because I can see that. It's not fair to have an author make it more complex because the other average people are just like, oh, you know, they want to see the breadcrumbs you let out there leading to a mystery. Is it my fault I was raised on Agatha Christie? I mean, oh, who was the other one? It was Agatha Christie. Well, Agatha Christie, Stephen King, you know, I read a lot as a kid. A lot. I still read. I just don't read as much because, well, they greenlight so much garbage. Like out of the last 10 books that I read that were new to me, that weren't, author I'd already known, only one book did I find any interest in and I enjoy. And that was Raven's. Raven's book was refreshing. I really liked that. Now, that's my opinion. It was a great book. It's hard for me to... I think that's one of the biggest stumbling blocks to my writing, too. Is because I start writing and then I can see where it goes and I'm like, oh, well, people will see that. But that's the way the story wants to go. I mean, I can see where it's going. So then I try to make these over complex plot line, and I frustrate myself. I talk myself out of writing. Like every time I sit down to write, I talk myself out of it. Or I start writing and I don't know how else to describe it. I just lose it. Not that I don't lose the plot. I know exactly where I wanted to go, but it's just like, well, will people even like this? I start second guessing myself. I start doing all of this. I honestly just need to sit down and start writing. I mean, I know I need to do it. And one of these days I will. Hell, I might do it, tomorrow, sit down and write. I got most of my work done this week. So I need, I have time. I'll start doing that. I've got a lot of stuff, a lot of time and effort into these stories. I just need to shape them up. I mean, I've got years worth of stuff that I've worked on. But then there's something like what I wrote for Raven, or wrote the story for Raven. The story's name is For Raven. I wrote that over a couple of days, maybe. I don't even think I really edited it that much. I don't even know how bad it was. But he read it. He read it on his channel. That made me happy. It was fun. I think I sent him another story that probably was garbage because he's never posted it. Perfectly valid. I mean, that's fine. It's not... I know I'm not the world's best author. I know when I think something's good, other people probably won't. And vice versa. And that's something I also struggle with. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I need to work better at my writing. And it just takes practice. And I haven't really given myself that time. That's really what it is. I keep putting more stuff on myself that's outside of that. Like I wanted to start doing narrations, and start a whole nother YouTube channel for narrations and do that too. I haven't. There's a lot of things I want to do, but I do plan on doing them someday. And I know that sounds like the same excuse everybody else gives. Oh, I'll do it someday. One of these days, I'm just going to get off my ass and do it. And maybe this community is what's encouraging me to do it more so than I ever have before. It's more on my mind than it ever has been before. And I want to prove that I can do it. Because you guys have faith in me. That's great. You guys keep coming back. You guys are still here. I've been doing this for months, and you guys are still here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm flailing around in the dark. But I'm having fun doing it, and I hope you guys are along for the ride, because I don't know where it's going to end. I don't know what it's going to, what I'm going to be doing this time next year. Who knows? It's like I want to do podcast format stuff. Right? It's just a ride. You have fun. I mean, and measure the success. I guess that's really what it is measure the success by yourself. Not compare yourself to somebody else. That is, if that is any advice my 46 years on this planet can give you, is that never compete against somebody else. You will always come up short in one manner or another. You compete against yourself. Be better this day than you were the previous day. And if you weren't, try again. Get up and do it again. There is nothing better in this world than watching yourself succeed. Not by somebody else's measure. I don't need a Ferrari, a Bugatti, or whatever, dick measuring thing people are using this day. I want to be better. I want to make people better. And that's part of what I want to do. I want to encourage people to be who and what they want to be. There's nothing wrong with being that. There's nothing wrong with wanting people to be better. Hell, even if they end up better than you, who cares? I mean, we all know that Ghost is eventually going to make it big. He's going to find his voice. He's going to find his stride and be able to do whatever he wants. All right, I'll hydrate. Thanks for the reminder, Green Jeans. Saying my voice is getting scratchy. And welcome back. I do. And here's a little piece of advice, Ghost. The biggest thing I can tell you, exactly. The biggest advice I can give you, Ghost, is just be yourself. Right. You have fun at what you're doing. What more could you want? I really do think you're going to hit a good stride. Just like I know Raven's going to continue being as good as Raven is. He's going to continue being good. Just like I know Cryptic, as long as he sticks to what he wants to do, he's going to be good. He's got the voice for it. He's got the cadence. He's got all the tools. It's just confidence in yourself. Right? Well, I don't know about G Fuel. I don't know enough about G Fuel. I know a lot of people don't like Gamer Sups, but I happen to like their stuff better than Gamer Fuel. G Fuel. Just being honest. I know at one point people were upset with Gamer Sups, but somebody else bought them or something. All I know is that I really like what I get. Which, I mean... Well, I like the options, and I'm sure G Fuel has the same thing. I like how Gamer Sups has the option to get non-caffeinated. And I like that. I also like the flavors Gamer Sups puts together. But that's neither here nor there. Well, I haven't seen too many... If Tillamook ever wants to sponsor me, I am there for it. I love their cheese. Okay. Besides the point, I guess, is what I'm saying, is that I know Ghost Inc., you can be good. But you're not confident in yourself yet. You don't feel like you've... I don't know, like... You're almost self-deprecating about your skills. You don't take yourself seriously. And I don't mean, start being serious on stream. No, I mean, you don't take yourself seriously. You don't think you're that good. I think you are. I think you will. The main thing is that you have to have the confidence. And that's what you're building now. And that's the best I can tell you from that. It's the same mistake I have, I need to become more confident in what I do while learning to do better. You know, to take myself seriously, to try and do this more seriously, be on a schedule, do what I do. You know, that's why I hold myself to the schedule every day. You know, and make sure that I tell people ahead of time if I'm taking a break, you know, here and there. You know, I mean, I've been writing music for over a year now. I've got 66 followers on the music channel. And I don't care. I love doing it. I keep doing it. I've missed one day in that whole time of my schedule, Tuesday through Thursday. I'm proud of that. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm proud of that. You know, that's 3 songs a week, 52 weeks of a year. And I missed one song. You know, it was entirely my fault. I forgot. It was also my birthday. I just forgot. It's not that I couldn't have done it. It was just I got wrapped up in what else I was doing. I forgot to write the song. But to make up for that, I've already got, you know, tomorrow's song done. I've got this whole, you know, I did this whole week, you know, and I've got everything done. You know, and as long as I keep on that pattern, make it into a habit, it won't be a big deal. And I think that's largely what you need to do, Ghost, is just keep going the way you're going. Get into the habit pattern. Trust that you're entertaining in and of yourself. It doesn't always have to be a game. It doesn't always have to be, how do I put it? It doesn't always have to be planned. I mean, not that you plan a whole lot ahead. You know, it doesn't always have to be super goofy and funny either. I mean, in Darkwood, you know, you had a lot of fun playing it, but it wasn't always goofy and funny. I mean, there was real story there. There was real things to do. You know, and you did good at it. You know, to be perfectly honest, you did good playing that game, having fun with it. You know, just like you do with everything else. And so, yes, I do think you're going to make it big. Long and short of it, you're going to make it big. You know, as long as YouTube keeps letting it happen, as long as Twitch keeps letting it happen. You know, we don't know what the future is going to be. But I know you have the talent. And, you know, like I said, Cryptic's got the talent. You know, I hope I do. I know I sound super confident most of the time that I know exactly what I'm doing, and I really don't. Like I said, I'm flailing around in the dark. I'm trying to be probably too much at once. To be perfectly honest. But it's what I'm used to. It's what I do. I like doing what I'm doing. I like doing this. This is fun to me. Well, there you go. You ever want any help, you know, filling in that time schedule, you know I'm available. You know, I just need to have, you know, time. You know, I need to have a schedule set so I can set everything else that I do in the same order. You know, I'm not as spontaneous as some people because I have things I have to do outside of this. You know, it's just like, you know, Wednesday afternoons. That's meant for you and Cryptic to be able to just step in, you know, where we can just talk. We have a lot of fun doing that. I think people like us doing that. You know, so I mean, I am perfectly open to you guys just crashing in. You know, because that was originally set aside for us to do things. Because that was a time that we all had generally available. Not always, but generally. That's why I just keep doing it. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I watch a few videos and try and talk and see what happens. That's what I do. And you guys seem to stick around for it. I hope it's okay. I hope I'm doing okay. And then, Pal World tomorrow. Friday, I'll be doing Scarlet Hollow. Saturday, I'm probably going to do the game called Kiosk. I got it on a special when I bought Boba Tea Shop, I think. Just having goofy fun like that. Playing some scary games, also sprinkling in, this conversation. Because I'm a multifaceted person. I don't always just play video games. There's other things I want to do too. I like talking. I like encouraging people to do good. I like helping people if they have questions. I hope my chat understands. I hope you guys understand well enough that if you literally have questions about something, well, like you asking about, my opinion on something, just feel free to do it. I'm here for that. I just give you the best advice I know how to do. I hope it works out, but I'm also not always right. I'm aware of that. I don't know everything, but I sure as hell will try. I will try to help somebody. That's the kind of community I want to encourage. Is everybody trying to help each other to the best of our abilities. And sometimes that also means telling people some very difficult truths. That, yes, Ghost, you're good at what you do. I just don't want you burning yourself out if you're going to try and do 5 streams a week with your work schedule. But I think you can do it. But I don't know. I'm going to be working. I'm trying to make this a career too. I want to make this whole thing a career. Between YouTube and Twitch. As long as it's viable. Well, good. See, sometimes I come up with things that I don't even know people need to hear. But yeah, we all have faith in you, Ghost. We keep coming back just because we have that faith. I'm not going to lie that I enjoy watching you. I think lately you've been a little bit lower energy than normal, and I think you're burning yourself up at work. I think the work hours are hurting you. But don't get me wrong. It still hasn't really sacrificed your ability to do what you're doing. But I can definitely tell you don't have as much energy as you normally do. But you're still there, and that's encouraging. You're still having fun. My whole thing is playing off of chat. Talking to chat. That's where I come alive. That's what I do. Or when I'm playing a game, playing off that game, entertaining people. I don't also want to seem like some doomer that everything's all bad, because there is good things out there. We are doing good. I want to find more goofy, fun things to talk about. Things to riff off, have fun with. And I just know that right now that's really hard. The way the world is right now, to find something that's fun, to get that energy back, to see the fun, and I want more of that hope, the hope in a brighter future, because Twitch changing things up, YouTube changing things up, Collective Shout, being what they are, but they're on borrowed time. They're already losing steam, haha, pun intended. And it's going to burn itself out. Everything's going to be coming back. We're just going through a slump. It's sad, but it's what has to be done right now, is just exist for the moment. Let it run its course. And just keep working towards your own future. Don't worry about what's happening in the outer world, because we've opened this Pandora's box of streaming. There are plenty of streaming sites out there. I know people don't like Kick. I know that there's Rumble and people don't like that. But if Twitch becomes untenable, there are other options. I mean, shoot, I just got a friggin', some of the ads on Amazon are annoying me. I don't like what I'm seeing coming out of Amazon right now. I'm not even sure if Twitch is going to be tenable for too much longer. But then again, we know how fast this industry can change, and suddenly everything's bright and happy again. So I'm not trying to be doomsaying. I'm just saying, it's like, hey, maybe we need to hedge some bets, which is why I'm trying to do things, between YouTube and here. Hell, the only reason why I don't simul-stream on YouTube is because that's a hard thing to figure out. Let alone, I wouldn't be making any money. Ha, ha, ha. I don't know how woke is being used right now, and I don't know if I would really call myself woke. I'm more of a realist, pragmatist, and not everything woke, quote unquote, do I think is good. But I'm also wouldn't call myself anti-woke. Because again, everything anti-woke is not good. Again, this is just, we need to meet in the middle. That's really where people need to be. And majority of people are. I just think people need to remember that. That it's not an adversarial relationship. Republican, Democrat, whatever you want to call it, woke, anti-woke, it shouldn't be adversarial. Because both bring good points here and there. Not all the time, but here and there. And it's when you push things too far one way or the other way, you get that pendulum swinging and nobody knows where they stand. You feel like you're at the bottom of a pit with a pendulum swinging over you. And if you've ever read Edgar Allan Poe, you know what I'm talking about. This isn't a good place to be. You're waiting for that to just dip down just a little bit further to cut you in half. We need to stop that pit, that pendulum. Which the only way to really do that is to work together. To be open-minded on both sides and work together. Draw a line in the sand. This is as far as I will go. Can you meet me here? Or if they both draw lines in the sand, see where you stand. But everybody's just saying, oh, you're just evil because you're wearing a red hat. Oh, you're evil because you dyed your hair blue. Really? Like, we're still all people. And we need to remember that. Most people don't harbor hate in their soul. But they all, most sides, both of these sides feel attacked. It's the same way I feel about people sitting here talking about, F the police. And it's like, most of the cops I've ever run into are actually nice guys. Now, some of them are useless. Some of them are actually pretty idiotic and should never be given a badge. But not most of them, just some. Most cops got the job because they wanted to do what's right. And we also have to remember that there's a whole industry behind them forcing them to do things that they probably wouldn't agree to, other than it's their job. I mean, let's put it into perspective. All right, you work at McDonald's. I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying, hypothetically, you work at McDonald's. You see somebody that is 600 pounds walk in and order 10 Big Macs. What do? Do you tell them, no, I'm not selling to you because I think that's unhealthy for you? No, you don't. You sell them the 10 Big Macs and walk your way. Because you have a job to do, because if you refuse service to them, you could lose your job. How is that any different than any other job? You might be the person that sold that person that Big Mac that got their, arteries clogged and gave them a heart attack. Do you take responsibility for that? No, You don't take responsibility for that because that was their choice. They wanted to go out that way. I realize, that's maybe a poor analogy when it comes to policing. But again, they have a job to do and they have certain factors that they have to do the job a certain way. Yes, there are some that, pun intended, lean into it a bit hard. But that's not the majority, and we have to treat them with respect until they show us disrespect. Right. I think a lot of people don't understand is that we all have personal liberty to do what we want to do, but we also have certain standards we have to meet within our jobs. We're going to have to do things we don't like or we might think are wrong. We can't always take a stand. We have to choose our stands for the most effective moment. And we also have to realize that police are trained a certain way. That's where we need to change what's happening, is the training. We can't sit here and be adversarial to the police, and we shouldn't have the police be adversarial to us, even though part of that is their job. But if you treat a cop like he's the bad guy, he's going to treat you, or she, they're going to treat you like the bad guy. You show them respect, they generally show you respect. At least in my experience, being the privileged white guy I am. Cops don't automatically assume I'm doing something, wrong, or at least 99% of the time. And they'll treat you like a big wanker, won't they? And I know you're being facetious, Ninetales. And I think people need to take that to everything they do. Treat people with respect until they show you they don't deserve it. This whole idea of earning respect from someone means that you will never give anybody respect, nor will anybody give you respect. You treat people with respect first. Once they lose it, yeah, sure, they have to earn it back. But if you treat people with respect until they lose it, yeah, most people will treat you fine. In my experience. Now, if you're another color and somebody sits there and treats you like shit because you're another color, that person is not deserving of your respect. Treat them however you see fit. And that goes for any other reason somebody might look down on you. Just because you're gay, please. All you're doing is removing competition for the average, heterosexual male. You're just removing competition. If you're not competing for the women, okay, I'm fine with that. What's wrong with that? Same with lesbians, same with whatever else. I don't really care. But yeah, the antagonism is probably the worst thing we do right now, is antagonize people that we don't like. Somebody comes at me wearing a red hat, I might be a little upset at them. I have to learn to curb my language. Somebody comes at me with the bull ring and the blue hair. I might have to curb my language because to them, I'm seen as very extreme. A lot of people don't understand. It's like, yes, I believe in the Second Amendment, but I also believe in gun control. I believe in proper gun laws. It is something we should license, just like we license a driver's license. I also believe that people shouldn't just be able to have kids willy-nilly. I believe that before you bring a life into this world, you have to be proven to be capable of raising that child. And I don't mean financially. We'll figure that part out. But are you psychologically capable of raising a child? Are you mature enough? You know, there is fully reversible not prophylactics, fully reversible birth control for both men and women. I also think we need to further enhance, further come up with the idea and further the science about, yes, exactly. I totally agree. But I think we also need to give men birth control. We need to advance that science. There's a lot of things that on both sides we need to teach. We need to respect. The only problem I see with like a gun owner's insurance or anything like that is now it becomes a tax. It's an old method for keeping certain people from owning certain things is the tax stamp. Guns are already prohibitively expensive. Lurking. Maybe people don't have a certain say in this. Maybe I'm boring people. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're just turned me on and walked away. I don't care. Yeah, see, that's what I figured. See, and also a lot of people don't have a whole lot of opinion on it. See, this is why most people are centrist. See, and that's what I mean. Right there, that proves my point. But that's what I'm saying, is that proves my point. Most people don't have a dog in the fight, as Green Jeans says. Most people don't care. They don't care about gun rights. They don't care about certain things because it's just not on their purview. You want pics of randos' feet? Green Jeans, this is getting really weird. I thought Ghost was the one with the foot thing. And that's only on stream, apparently. Apparently he's been lying to us this whole time. But right. Well, actually, isn't Texas I don't think you need a concealed carry in Texas. Most states did away, a lot of states did away with the whole needing a concealed carry license to carry. Some states still have it. But also a lot of people don't realize there's also open carry laws. But again, the whole point wasn't to talk about guns. It was to point out the fact that, yeah, right. But the whole point is that, here Rando and I were talking about gun rights, but most people don't really have a dog in the fight. They don't really care one way or the other. I'm not even guessing what Calyptian is. But that's what I mean when I say most people are centrist. Unless you talk about a specific interest they have. Most people don't care how it... okay. Most people don't care how it is carried out outside of that. You know, whether you're pro-life, I forgot the other side's name, because I don't have a dog in that fight. Because I know it's not anti-life, but I mean, pro-life, pro-abortion. Yeah, pro-choice. Sorry, my brain just like glitched on that. I don't really have a dog in that fight. I also think that, well, I do kind of have a dog, because unless the law is applied equally to both males and females, I think you can't really talk about it. Like, sure, if somebody wants to go in for an abortion, but what about the father of the child? Why are you not giving him a choice? You know, you both got in it together. Shouldn't you both get out of it together? And I know that that's like murky water, so I kind of step back because I'm just a white dude. I can't have children myself. Exactly. You know, that's my thing. But I mean, I know of a few guys that lost out on their chance of having kids because their girlfriends or wives took care of the baby before he even knew, before he even had an option. And because of a certain accident, he could no longer have children. Right. I'm pro-choice, but it also needs to be applied relatively equally. You know, I know, again, that's murky because I'm a white dude. But I feel if we're going to give rights to one side, we have to give rights to both sides. In equal measure, the woman's going to have to carry it 9 months. And if she wanted, you know, to get rid of the baby, whatever, you know, other than, you know, unless it's a medical reason. Again, this is murky. I'm talking, you know, kind of out my ass. But to me, if the guy chooses to take care of the kid, right? You know, again, you know, I totally understand that this might be, but if he wants the kid, she doesn't. If they can come to agreement for her carrying, you know, the baby 9 months, but he's got to pay all the bills and has to take care of everything else while she's doing this, I think that should be okay. I'm not saying like force her, but I'm saying that there needs to be some kind of equal measure. Like, they need to know. You know, I mean, but again, I don't really feel this very strongly because I'm not the one that has to deal with it. And the only reason why I even have that kind of opinion is because I knew a guy that lost his chance at having a kid because of an accident. And he only found out later that he did have a kid at one point, but he never knew about it because she went and got the abortion. You know, and I don't know. You know, again, I don't feel that super strongly. And that's the only reason why I'm bringing up. But that's like a one-off case scenario where it's just as ridiculous as some of the other, you know, oh, this is why I'm pro-life. Well, if you're so pro-life, why do you, you know, not fund the schools properly? If you're so pro-life, why are you not paying for children's school lunches? Why do the kids still have to pay for school lunches? School lunches should be free. Oh, yeah, and he did. He actually fostered 4 or 5 of them. Adopted 2 of them. Yeah, I mean, he did do that. Don't get me wrong. Like, I totally agree. And so did he. You know, he and his wife fostered kids. That kind of thing. It did happen. But nice. But you see what I mean? You know, it's like, if you're so pro-life, why are you so against taking care of the kids themselves? I mean, I'm all for bringing back orphanages if they're run properly. Not like, you know, Oliver Twist orphanages. Right. If you're going to be pro-life, you better damn well be ready to take care of the kids. You know, to actually back up those words. But 90% of people that are pro-life, which is why I just can't get behind the pro-life thing. I am always pro-choice. is because they don't want to do anything for actually taking care of the kids after the fact. They care so much while it's in the mother's womb and how, that baby should control everything about the mother until that baby's out, and then nobody cares. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, me personally, that's a stupid take. If you're not going to take care of the kid outside of it, and I love, oh, well, they should have taken care of it, taking care of that, or, blah, blah, blah. It's like, accidents happen. Birth control and condoms are not 100%. Like, legitimately, you can take every precaution in the book, and they're still going to find some way to blame. It's like, accidents happen. See, I'm a semi-socialist. I think there are certain things that have to be, the basic rights. Food, shelter, utilities. These should be basic human rights that are provided for you, pulled out of your taxes. But you also should have a voucher so you get to choose where you get this stuff from. Yes. I'm willing to pay my taxes towards that. What I'm opposed to, I don't mind higher taxes if it's actually going to do something. I'm opposed to taxes that I don't see any use of. I mean, how much tax do you pay at the pump? And look at your roads. How good are they? We have, state tax for roads. We have regional taxes for roads, city taxes for roads, federal taxes for roads, and the roads still suck. Like, why? Oh, I was an absolute joke. I was an absolute accident. My dad never let me forget it either. Not to bring the party down, but I actually find it funny that it's the best revenge for how he used to treat my mom. Okay, pragmatic socialist. Sure. But I also wanted capitalism within that to make sure that the basic needs, that people have a choice on those basic needs. Like, you get a voucher for your housing, and you get to choose where you go. I also believe that there should be certain levels. No, I know, like I said, I know for a fact I was an accident. I won't go into any more detail. Let's just say I was very much not planned. Yeah. Well, I also think that, and this is a hot take, which a lot of people don't like. And I'm okay with that. I think we shouldn't be a democracy. I think we should be, oh yeah, the child birth rate has gone way down. And I think that's perfectly fine. If people don't want to have kids in a world like we have today, see, it's real easy to fix birth rates. Do you know how you fix birth rates? This has been proven throughout history. Give people security and happiness. Make them feel like they actually have a future, and suddenly they'll have kids. It's amazing how that works. But the more unsure your populace is, the less childbirths you have, the more likely your empire is going to crumble. Look into the birth rates in Rome right before it crashed. Well, again, because, you lose security. I mean, Japan is literally living in, a meter square apartment. There's not a whole lot of room for people. Yeah. Yes. Also, they may have found out. Ask your parents. It's only 11 o'clock. Anyway, Yeah, China also, there's good evidence that China's been fluffing their numbers. They probably are less than a billion by now. The highest estimate right now is they're somewhere close to 800 million. Just because people have been monitoring how far they go with certain things, like water usage, food usage in certain, and they try to use this data, but it's really hard to get good solid data in China. But from what we can figure out, it's about 800. 800. Oh, they were fluffing their numbers long before COVID. After COVID, it's probably even less. They could be even closer to 600 million. Now, India, on the other hand, they're still growing. They're not faking their numbers. In fact, there might be evidence that they're trying to downplay their numbers. China's just afraid of people realizing that there's this huge landmass that most people don't live in. I mean, China has fake cities. Right? Which, again, if you really don't think about COVID too hard. It solved way too many problems. Way too many issues. It let So, here's the thing that I realized during, because of the fallout and during COVID. Every corporation, I don't care what they sell or what, services they offer, is a real estate company. I think it's entirely possible. Or it was being developed for population control and it escaped the lab. Like it literally was an accident. But I think every company is a real estate company. I think that's why they push for people to go back to the office as quickly as possible. Because it doesn't make sense. Why would a company want to pay for all that overhead for, having a building for their employees, paying all the utilities, having all of this? Why would they want them all? It's because so they can control the people. Are you kidding me? They would still have control over you. Look at how much they control you at work. I mean, ask Gossip Girl, that if you stare at the camera too long, in an online class, they think you're cheating. So, I mean, you're telling me that a company couldn't install the same kind of controls? Nah. I mean, Jade, you work from home. I hope Michael never sees that. Yes. I mean, I know other people that work from home. They know pretty much what you're doing working from home. So it's not about control. I don't care what Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos says. So what is it really? Why do they want to pay for a building that they don't really have a use for? I mean, especially since the numbers really say that people are more we didn't know that. Okay, there we go. But why else would they care so much? Wanting people back in the office. It's so they can validate the building. That's the only thing I can figure. Is that it's about the value of the building. And basically what they use that for is to anchor their value. It's like saying, that Elon Musk is, a billionaire or whatever he's sitting on. I lost track a while ago because I don't really give a crap. So, but if Elon Musk tried to cash in his wealth, he's going to get 10, 20% because he's flooding the market with his valuable shares. It's like, hoarding gold and saying, oh, I'm a trillionaire because I have all this gold. Well, then try and sell it. Once you flood the market with that much gold, $1 trillion worth of gold, you depress the value. It's the same way if all of his Twitter shares went up on. And I refuse to call it X. It is Twitter. Because X is a dumb name. X is literally something in the past. You know, my ex-girlfriend. I'm an ex-boxer. These are things that were in the past. So why the hell would you use that for a friggin' contemporary device? I mean, I always thought Twitter was a stupid name until X came about. And then I'm just like, never mind. There was something stupider. All companies are real estate companies. First thing they do when they expand is buy real estate. First thing they do when they have to contract is sell real estate. It's a value sink. It's so they can shore up the company's value. One might even say it's so they can launder their money. You know, I really would like to know. Yeah, don't even get me started on Whoopi. Whoopi, I have lost all respect for Whoopi. I used to respect her quite a bit. But as soon as she came out and defended Roman Polanski and Bill Cosby, I was done with her. She was useless. Now she's just a hateful harridan. You know, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's perfectly valid to hate Trump too, but he did the same thing that Roman Polanski and Bill Cosby did. So why are you hating on them or on him, but defending them? It makes no sense. Oh, yeah, when she tried to educate Arnold Schwarzenegger on being an immigrant in America, I thought that was hilarious. You know, a lot of people forget that Arnold Schwarzenegger used to have to break into gyms just so he could work out because he was so poor. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Plague Doctor stuff was awesome. Still is, in my personal opinion. I think that's a very fun aesthetic. I just think that people need to realize that there's more than just a straight line, black and white, to the conspiracy theory. Nice. You know, sure, COVID may have been, you know, engineered in a lab, but it also could have escaped. Or it could have been intentionally released. There's a lot of gray area there. But the fact is that after that was a whole lot of people taking advantage. You know, I mean, that's also how we, you know, reinforce the study that people are 40% more effective when working from home. You get more work out of them, even if they work less hours than what they bill you for. You're still getting more work out of them. As probably was back in the times when plague doctors were a real thing. You know, I mean, we don't know how many doctors are actually serial killers. Jeez, is it already almost time? Wow, this went by fast. See, this is why I like talking with people. Makes the time go by so fast. But, you know, we don't realize how psychotic certain people are. Or psychopathic, or whatever the PC term for it. People are crazy. Nice. Your average person is psychopathic about certain things. There are certain things they would kill for and kill over. No hesitation. Everybody's got a bit of that in them. I don't care who you are. I mean, You take the most pacifist person out there, but there is a trigger that will make them kill. My friend the plague doctor told me what to do. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah. Bing, bang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Sorry. I have fun. I have a feeling there was a lot of overlap between those two populations, Rando. I could be wrong. My guess is it was actually a fairy, not a twink assistant. I'm not even sure if twink is an offensive name. I don't understand. A twunk. Was that a mistypo, or is that something I'm not aware of? A mistypo? Was that a typo, or is that something I'm not aware of? I'm not sure. I mean, a twunk would make me think of like a beefed up. Well, basically, you know, a gay person that talks like Mike Tyson, but is also a power bottom. Sorry. Okay. I'm just being honest. I honestly don't know. I don't really. I don't try to be offensive, but there's a lot of things I just don't know. You know, and I know in my ignorance I could be. Oh, okay. See, again, I don't really know these. You know, it's not really something that's ever been a big deal to me. You know, just the same as I don't really ask other people about their, you know, what they like in their significant other. Well, of course. Well, we may have screwed up too, by the way. We may still have a big giant plague on the rise. Because plagues happen about once every year, or every 100 years, not every year, every 100 years, and it's supposed to reduce the population by a certain percentage. If you pay attention in history, it's happened about every 100 years. What I find interesting is right before COVID, people were talking about it. Okay. Well, there's 7 different ways the zombie apocalypse could actually come about, or something similar. You got the fungal one, like Last of Us, which we'd all be dead. Hope that one never happens, because there's no stopping that one. Rabies, if it makes a simple mutation. I can't remember the others, because those were the 2 most convincing to me. I mean, even the fact that the CDC has already a classification for a virus like that. Like, that's where the term H1Z1 came from, is actually the CDC or the WHO actually has a classification for the first zombie virus, will be called H1Z1. Which would be human zombie virus. Or something like that. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. Maybe I should look more into it. But I don't think it would be a zombie apocalypse that would do it. Honestly, I'm really worried for a 2-phase virus. You know, the first phase is this gentle infection that, you know, like a cold, you don't even realize you have it. And then, you know, once it interacts with another virus, suddenly it's super lethal, and because you already have it, you're dead. Like, you're reducing the amount of immunity chances by a landslide. Thankfully, nature really hasn't given us too many infections like that. But I think this is where I'm going to call it for the night. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you here tomorrow for Pow World.